Call is now being recorded.
Welcome to the V2V podcast with Shorts and Aurelius, episode 12, A Voice in the Darkness.
A voice in the darkness.
Cue the sound effects. I'm Aurelius, and this is my co-host, Shorts. Hey.
Hey, what's up, what's up?
Roll the credits. That's it. Thanks for listening, everybody. So, yeah, that would be perhaps not the world's shortest, but we'd probably be in the top 10 shortest podcasts of all time.
That would be great.
If you do like you could do like 20 a day.
Control of a podcast. Like, you thought you were going to listen to something, but you're not.
No. But, well, you know, we've been doing this 3 months now. And the idea is to get better at it, I suppose.
Yeah.
At least that's kind of what I'd like to do.
Right.
Less sure. Less and awkward pauses, but it's part of the charm, I suppose.
Right.
But so I actually did a little preparation today. Not that that's really going to help us, but it could. It can't hurt.
Yeah.
So today we're talking about, amongst the usual nonsense, is the phenomenon of the Imposter Syndrome. You familiar with that?
I am.
Okay, so that's what people go through their lives, perhaps even being good at what they do, and constantly thinking that they're going to be found out as a fraud. Doctors, lawyers, professionals have these thoughts. And I thought that would just be an interesting thing to touch on, because it's kind of one of those hidden psychological issues that most people deal with, but no one wants to really talk about it.
Right, but it's also kind of a bit wooey to me, too, because it's pseudoscience-y, isn't it? I mean, it's like, everyone kind of has that. I mean, I'm sure there are, like, extremes of it, but I think everyone sort of feels like an imposter all day, because we're all being imposters. It's what we do in this society.
Yeah, it's like the reconciliation between your humanity and what you do. Like, we're all people, and we all have particular tasks that we do, and we put on the clothes of that job, like as a front, because it's just kind of I guess just what we do. But I don't necessarily think it's like always a negative thing. Like a little bit of self-doubt isn't necessarily a bad thing.
Mm-mm.
But the idea is that people who have maybe a moderate to severe inability to internalize their accomplishments.
Yeah.
And they have a persistent fear of being exposed as a quote-unquote fraud, even though objectively they know that's not true.
Yes.
But we live in a world of constant critique about what we should be doing or whether or not we're doing something in the right way. So it makes sense that a lot of people would have these mixed feelings about what it is that they do. Like, is this what I'm supposed to be doing?
Yeah.
Was I don't know, like the lawyer who always wanted to be a doctor, but his dad was a lawyer, so he became a lawyer. Something along those lines. Even though he has all the credentials, it's just not him, for instance.
Yeah.
And then the second ingredient is that this person or the imposter, they take the proof of their success as luck or timing, or even like to the extreme, like as a result of deceiving other people. Like
sure.
Even like subconsciously, like, oh, I pulled one over on everybody. Like I'm not really the person I am pretending to be. Yeah. Huh.
Oh, I feel like this is just like, it's societal, really, and it's sort of the way we've built the structure of our lives. And capitalism, in many ways, is kind of a phony thing, isn't it? You know, the doctor who comes out, you saved our kid's life, and that doctor, probably saved the kid's life, but also there was this nurse there who kind of helped him to get blah, 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 and then, I don't know.
Or what if it was just luck? Like,
right?
The kid was sick, and then he got better, but he got better while he happened to be under the doctor's care. The doctor gets the credit, but the doctor, because he's a doctor and has medical knowledge, knows, like, deep down the truth that he didn't do anything.
And he wasn't even there, because being under someone's care, being under a doctor's care basically means that you're in an area of the hospital that the doctor has pretty much fought over.
Right.
Because of his, like, level of expertise or whatever, or something.
Right. He's an administrator. Right. He's not even a real doctor.
And all the nurses must be standing around going like, well, I was the one who did this, and I was the one who did that for the kid. What about me?
Right.
But then,
isn't that that's a common thing that you hear with, like the the mid-level staff in any place like a hospital, is that the ones who do the real work are the orderlies and the nurses, right? The doctors they're not even there. They pop into the room for 10 seconds to check in and make sure that the kid's not bleeding out. And if the kid is bleeding out, he calls in the other guy to sew him up.
Right. Exactly.
Right. So there is something to this, or the.
I think everyone's a fucking imposter. Like, what do you do? When people ask me that, it's hilarious. Well,
right? Yeah.
Because you could say a million things, and most of what people say in this town is pretty disingenuous. Well, I'm a producer, and I'm, working with Netflix right now on a deal, and so basically what you do is you take a piece of art that someone's made, and you put your money into it and say it's yours, and you make a shit ton of money off of that. Yep, that's what I do. Like, everyone's dishonest even in what they say they do,
Sure. You ever notice that it's always the common thing is, like, I'm working out this deal, or I'm, like, getting into this deal. Like, it's never, oh, here's the finished product.
Yeah, I just finished a deal. Like, no one says that ever.
No, that's, you know why? It's because the people who are actually finishing the deals aren't wandering around talking to people about what deals they're in. They're actually doing something.
Because they're actually working 12-hour shifts and too tired to be talking about what they're doing.
Right, and just the fact that they're actually doing it. And all the meetings have been taken. All of the paperwork has been signed.
Sure.
So maybe in a lot of these, like, imposter cases, it's true. It's not a syndrome. It's just a fact. It's very interesting because a little self-doubt is healthy, but I guess the ones we need to watch out for are the people who are always telling you about what they're about to do.
So, sorry, I just need to say, have you read Portnoy's Complaint?
No, is that Philip Roth?
Yeah.
No. But I know what it is. It's
fucking hilarious.
Does he turn into something?
No, I haven't gotten there yet, so don't spoil it for me. I'm working for it.
No, hold on a second. I'm gonna look this up because
okay.
I think it's like dust cover stuff like that. I mean, as far as like the basic plot, it's not. I'm not. Fuck spoilers, by the way. Like I'm not really that like married to the idea of, oh no, don't tell me what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, it's the novel tells a humorous monologue of a lust-ridden, mother-addicted young Jewish bachelor.
Yes.
I see. Yes. No, I have not read that, but apparently it's the thing to read.
But like the actual diagnosis of Portnoy's Complaint itself, it's fucking hilarious. I mean, we're just so sensitive.
Right.
You know, from a very early age, and any sort of like odd interactions with our mothers or fathers or anything like that can like trigger things in us.
Yes.
Including imposter syndrome, which is basically, I just think society is so fucked right now.
Yeah. Oh, so it's a monologue basically to his to Portnoy's psychoanalyst, like, and his complaints. Yeah. Like he's just kind of monologuing about his life in his therapist's office, and apparently was very controversial because of the coarse language and stuff like that. I haven't gotten into like reading a good book in a long time. I read everything in the past. Like, I mean, not everything obviously, but a lot.
But do you think that contemporary fiction is any good anyway? I mean,
I don't know. I mean, that's the real answer. I don't know. I haven't read it.
Right.
I just don't. It's been years. Like, I don't know. Can't even remember the last like novel or that I read.
What is stopping you?
Oh, what was stopping me I think was drugs, actually.
Yeah.
Drugs were stopping me. Yeah. I couldn't disassociate myself enough to get into the fiction. I was too self-centered, right? Like to even like tear myself away from my own complaints to get into some made up story about some guy, whatever it was. But I don't know. It's funny that you mentioned that because I've been thinking about like finding something good to read now that I have a little bit of time. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. So there you go. There's the imposter syndrome. We're all fakes.
Yes.
Right.
We all wear masks.
Sure.
Metaphorically speaking.
I don't think Twitter's helping either.
No.
Social media in general. There have been some like anecdotal studies regarding who a person really is in real life and their avatar. And it's basically we all live in this split personality world where we would never do the things that our avatar would do or say the things that our avatar would say. Like, it's actually a different person. And that's crazy. Like, that's actually, I think, a little insane. Because I think we all fall prey to that. Because
I think so, too.
We're relatively anonymous online, even if it's really you typing the things that
we feel safe physically.
Yeah, go ahead.
And physically, we feel like this thing that we're talking to is just in our room, or isn't in our room, or we have some control over it in our room. You know, we can turn it off, we can block it, we can sort of, you know, we psychologically get into these. Yeah, I agree. I fucking hate who I am when I'm on Twitter. I fucking hate it. I hate who I have to sort of turn into.
Like, the whole world is filled with confirmation bias now, where you literally absolutely cannot win an argument online, because the more you present your case, just that much harder the other person believes that they're right, because of this invisible army of people behind them that they know are there. Like, you can find them. Like, you can find, like, anybody that you want basically to back you up on any topic, like, immediately. Or they'll show up on their own. You know, in these, like, 200 comment threads on Facebook where someone says something controversial, and then it's just like, back and forth forever with pretty evenly divided lines between you're right, you're wrong, and likewise, like, back and forth, and it's crazy, because we didn't grow up in a world like that. There were facts. There used to be like, things that were true, and
yes, but there were also rumors, and we had no way to dispel rumors.
That's true. But we were so ignorant of the workings, like, in the sausage factory. Like, we didn't. Now we know. Now we all know way too much about the mechanics of how things are produced in the media, because we're all our own little media factories.
Yeah,
everybody.
Agreed.
Like, even if you don't, even if you don't consider that, like, any time you publish something, regardless of if there's 1 or 1 million people looking at it, you're a media publisher.
Yes.
And only you know why you put that out there. We don't know why. I mean, we never knew. It's just so weird, because we don't know why. We don't know who picks the stories on the news.
No.
Why they're chosen.
No.
And we never did. But now at least we have some insight into that process, because everyone's choosing their own stories to publish. So so even though we still don't understand the mechanism exactly, or who's deciding that, we know that someone is. And that makes a difference, because it automatically assumes some kind of individual bias.
Yes.
Right. Like,
do you think you have the mind for activism?
See, I don't even know what that means anymore.
I know, right?
Well, yeah, sure. Activism, like, just taken as a word on its own, it's just like, what, like, speaking up, like, talking, like, righting wrongs. I don't know. Sure.
Yeah.
I think we were talking about, where was it? I guess it was on Twitter, something about protests, and I know what it was. It was what's its name? The guy that blocked you, Michael Brooks from the Majority Report, right? Because he was talking about protests, and I responded with what good are protests? Here's what it was. I remember. So there's this person in Congress is trying to pass a law that would give somebody like 15 years if they wear a mask at a rally and are aggressive or like say assault somebody or threaten somebody. So normally these would be like misdemeanors or small crimes or annoyances, but he's trying to get this law passed that would sentence somebody to up to 15 years if they like hide their face and are obnoxious.
Yeah.
And but he didn't make that clear in the initial post, and I said, what do you mean like protests like and how effective is that? Like, I mean, we all remember like protests, like, and I think I brought up the Million Man March. I think I brought up Occupy, and then I specifically brought up like, or do you mean like someone like Rosa Parks, who on her own had a really kind of huge impact, just a little old lady on a bus, and it made this like immense impact that actually changed things. So, like the definition of activist or being involved in a protest, those are wide definitions. And so I don't know. Like I don't really know like what good protesting, like say like the Nazis are marching through town. Do we really want Antifa to show up and throw bricks at them? Probably not, because that just is a reflection of hatred. Like
but it's also the same thing as when you argue someone online and you can't win, and there's confirmation bias. It's the same exact thing.
Right. It's that there's fine people on both sides argument that Trump made.
Yeah.
Like, that's probably true. Like, in a superficial way. Like, I don't know. Maybe we all know the Nazi who lives next door and we don't even know it, or the anarchist who is in the cubicle next to us and we don't know what he does on the weekends and we don't want to know. Like, and these people are great. They're like our neighbors or coworkers. They're great. They're super nice. They're like literally fine people, except when they're not, and when we're not. So I don't know what form like activism really takes anymore. The whole thing was it's just disgusting. Should we be activated regarding child rape jokes?
Right.
That were deleted 10 years ago, or does that not count? Or children not included in the Me Too Time's Up movements? Like, are they not included? Is it like if
that whole thing is so crazy to me?
Raping, if a person made a joke, or several jokes 10 years ago about raping Meryl Streep, okay, right, and as directed and they were found out by anybody, and the person who found this stuff is a little dubious too, so we can bring that up. I'm not a big I'm not a big fan of Mike Cernovich. Oh my God, no. Who believes that date rape is impossible?
Yeah,
but we don't. And this is something I often go back to. We don't hate freeways because the Nazis engineered them. Just like sometimes sometimes the source of information is super shitty, or the source of an idea, the person themselves or the institution, is horrible.
Yes.
That doesn't discount the information itself, or I don't think it should. But I'm hearing a lot of that, like, oh, it's that guy, so therefore
it's a right-wing smear job. And listen to me. But listen to me. I've watched this whole thing, and like it's outstanding to me that, well, not outstanding, astonishing to me that like people like Alex Winter can like totally he was a victim of child rape too. He was in that circle of kids in the Lost Boys. All of those kids were probably being abused, right?
Sure.
I mean, we can say that. And
that's
we can say that, like,
evidence, sure.
Right. So, like, for him to be able to sort of, like, turn around and then support this guy and say, bring him back on, like, I think that's just the wrong thing to do. You know, and then for him to say that it's a right-wing smear job. This isn't left or right. Like, what does it matter? You know, some dude I don't know, I just never joked about raping kids. You know, I've never thought that, you know, anyone would think that that's funny in my circle. And, you know, I've never thought that, like, there's any humor to it. So, like, I don't get it. You don't do that, man.
If you go back and look at all of our favorite, most profane comedians, right, all of them, like from, I don't know, going back to, like, say, like Lenny Bruce, way back, or Woody Allen.
Yeah.
Bill Cosby, Bill Cosby. See, his jokes were clean, but he wasn't, so he doesn't count.
Hey, man.
Richard Pryor, right? George Carlin, Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
Martin Lawrence, Andrew Dice Clay. I don't recall, and I may have missed something, but I don't recall any of those guys ever making child rape jokes.
No.
Ever. Like, why would that be even considered in any way acceptable? Like, it's punching way down. Like way down. Right? You want to make fun of the powerful. You make fun of the Eddie Murphy joke about making fun of the two gay dudes. And he's like, watch out, that's a dude, man. They'll kick your ass.
Yeah.
Right? Like that. There you go. Like, or I just don't get it. Like, or you, I mean, rape isn't funny.
No.
You know, like, that's not like a joke. And the idea that you want to justify what you say by hiding behind just simply saying that it's a joke, that's no good. Like, that's not an out. You know?
It doesn't fly.
No, it's a joke. It's a lie. You're lying. You're making a horrible statement about something that's in no way funny. How is that comedy? So, and ultimately, though, it really comes down to, regardless of what you think about it, this is like a Disney Marvel decision as an employer, and they get to do whatever the fuck they want to do regarding who they hire and fire. And it's certainly not a free speech issue because the government's not involved.
No,
they're not involved whatsoever. And that's another like crazy topic about this whole like free speech idea. Like, that's only applicable when the government is preventing you from speaking, which happens, but not in this case. No way.
No.
I think he'll be fine. I think James Gunn will be fine with his millions of dollars. He'll be just fine.
Gunn.
Like, why are we crying over this guy? Like,
right?
You know, really?
Right?
Like, really? That's the victim? Really?
I feel like there was like a Disney employee today who got fired for having a tiny bit of facial hair growing out of the bad part of his face, or like the wrong part of his face, and because of that, he can't pay for his kids tonight, I feel like he's probably more important than James Gunn, I feel like this isn't, what are we doing? Like,
and right, there you go, there's activism for you. Did we learn nothing? Did we learn absolutely nothing from this whole thing with women being harassed and sexually abused? Did we learned nothing?
Right. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. No. We're fucking hilarious.
It's all this is our best comedy yet.
It's the greatest thing ever. It's like the ape who like is trying to stick a block into a certain hole in the wall because that's what he's been told to do. He finally gets it right, and and then the block reappears in the thing again. And he has to do it all over again and start all over again. And this is, we're just so silly.
Yeah, because it's like ultimately, like almost whatever side you're on, like other than maybe like taking a stand on a moral basis, it's totally inconsequential. It doesn't mean anything. Like, I mean, the most
it's
that
what?
I can do is, it's like, aside from like speaking up and taking like a moral stand on that particular issue, ultimately, like the whole thing is like absurd and relatively inconsequential. Like, who the fuck cares about Guardians of the Galaxy 3 and whether or not it's like, really? Like, come on.
But let's argue over that. Now hold on, let's get everyone on Twitter to argue over this for like an hour or two though. I feel like this is almost like a Russian bot or something.
Right?
It's just so silly.
It really is.
It's so silly.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's, wow. I didn't know we were going to be talking about that stuff. That's interesting. It's topical. Wow, we don't usually get that topical.
Topical.
I think, no, I was going to, like, it's really funny. I was going to talk about something else too, but, now I feel like it's inappropriate.
Oh, well, there you go then.
And I just like closed out my notepad.
Oh, wow.
Well, I was going to talk about like the lessons I learned from a pimp, but it seems so inappropriate now.
Yeah.
Especially
well, we'll do that next week then. We'll do that next week after we're done talking about some other horrific thing that's happened next week.
Well, here's the lesson I will impart. You have to control your hose without the use of violence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because if you start knocking them around, then your game is like done. Like, you have no respect for the game anymore. So, and hoes choose too. That's the other thing.
Yes.
These women, they decide.
Yes.
So that's also important. But, yeah. That's it, man. The V2V podcast, episode 12.
Wow.
If you made it this far and you're still listening, I know that there's some people I should go ahead.
Are we still doing Jimone?
Well, yeah, no, because I really want to. I've been looking around for like a stand for my phone so I can shoot.
Yeah.
And I decided that I don't need it. I can just do it handheld, like, because
excellent.
That was the holdup. And so what I wanted to do was like do another quick another quick recording of just like Jimone clips,
Okay.
That can cut up and use and then rearrange and place where they belong. But
okay, we can talk about. Yeah, we can talk about this off air, I guess. I think probably if you want, or we can talk about it here if you want. I don't mind.
Yeah,
this is not the problem.
Well, I don't want to I don't want to let the Jamon out of the bag, so to speak.
Yeah, I know, right?
Right. I mean, we've already have Jamon and Arnold. That man, that is if you listen to that on its own, that's a crazy conversation. Yeah, it is so
really good. I'm dying laughing when I listen to that. It's so funny.
Calling him Chamon. Listen, Chamon.
And Michael asking about his nose.
Right. You know, somebody in the house heard the Hungry Games, and and thought it was him. He's like, dude, did you interview Arnold Schwarzenegger? And I'm like, no, man, that's my friend. What? It really sounds like him. So. That was the high compliment, and so that was cool.
That was so good too. That made me laugh so hard. I'm sorry. Even if no one else is listening, I am laughing so hard at our stuff. I think it's so funny.
It's great. And the funny thing is that we're growing slowly and steadily. People really are listening. And for initially it was funny because I don't do much playback anymore. I'll maybe check something out once or twice. And cuz the novelty of that part of it, of listening to us, is kind of worn off a little bit, but initially I was listening to things more often when we first started, and I was like, okay, I bet a lot of these plays are me. But since I've pulled back, our views have steadily been going up. So that's great. And in looking at this is a little inside baseball, but about 65 to 70% of all of the people who are listening to us are not our subscribers. So, so that's interesting too.
Yeah.
It is, because there's a whole interesting world of people that our videos pop up to now, which will increase. One was some R&B singer. We got we were recommended, and then rapper Machine Gun Kelly was also a source. And it's just strange, very random, which is kind of, I think, what we want.
Yeah, you just kind of put it out there in the pond and people go fishing, and they'll find it.
Yeah. Sure. You just keep on going.
Yep.
All right.
All right.
I want to let people know that if they have made it this far, to please like our videos and subscribe to our channel if we were at all entertaining, and we'll keep on doing this. And we'll be back next week.
All right. Bye.
Bye.